If you're watching this anytime in early 2024, you may have noticed some changes in how your editor and interface looks in the backend. Don't worry, your live site will stay the same, but Squarespace recently rolled out some updates, and I'm going to walk you through one of the differences you may have noticed: how to get around your site header. It's Kessiah with Radiant Websites, and I'm going to show you how to get around your site header since Squarespace's updates in January of 2024. By default, when you start a site, you'll see your navigation menu, which is the pages in your site that you can click on, and your site title, unless you didn't name your site and you don't have any pages in the main navigation section, but we'll get to that. It's good to know that you can choose between a site title and a logo. If you don't have a logo, the title will appear. And if you do upload a logo, that'll replace the site title in your header. You can still have a site title for SEO purposes in your browser tab and on your homepage in the Hero section. We'll access the header from inside your site's editor. So you'll come to your site, click Edit, and let's get started. To access your header, just hover around the header area and you'll see Edit Site Header pop up. Click that and it'll bring up two more menus. The one on the left says Add Elements and the one on the right says Edit Design. You'll see that once you're inside the header editor, you can hover around to see where your content is organized. These blue lines mean that it's something that's editable. Now, quick aside, if you didn't give your site a title, haven't uploaded a logo, or you don't have any pages in your main navigation area, you can still hover around to see where those empty blocks are set up. And if you're still curious, you can click into the Edit Design menu to see and change that layout. Here it shows my logo over to the left, my page navigation here, and any buttons or CTAs over here. You can change this, but we'll get back to that. Let's start on the left with Add Elements. This is where we decide what stuff we want in the header, and then Edit Design is where we style that stuff. So it makes sense to start with Add Elements. So I'm going to click Add Elements, and you'll see a menu with 5 options. These are just toggle options, so you can decide if you do or you don't want them in your header. Your options are a button, social links, a cart, an account for memberships, and language switch. So let's choose a few, and then we'll go style them. Now, there's one thing that you change right in its own editor like you would in your regular blocks on a section, and that's your site title and logo. Hover up here, click the pencil icon, and it brings up an editor where you can change the site title. This is what will show if you don't have a logo, and it's also what's going to show in your browser tab. And you can upload your logo here. I recommend a PNG with a transparent background. Then you can adjust the size on desktop, the size on mobile, and you can even upload a different image for mobile only. Awesome. Okay, and remember, if you need to change your pages in your navigation menu, that's done over here in your sidebar. So you'd get out of your editor, head over to Website, and add your pages here. Okay, back into the editor. Now that we have all our header content, it's time to organize and style it. Here we'll hover over the header area again, click Edit Site Header, and now we'll click into Edit Design. In the menu that appears, the first thing you'll see is Layout. Click the drop-down, and here you can see all the different ways you can structure and organize your header content. You can always change this anytime, so don't stress about choosing one. The next option you have is for link spacing. That's the space between items in each element, like your pages or your social icons. And then element spacing is the space between each of those chunks. You can play around with these until they're just right. Now for the fun parts. These are optional settings, but you can do things like add a drop shadow, a border, fix the position of the header, and adjust your header's height and width. Let's look at each one. So we'll click into drop shadow. There are default settings for soft and strong, but the 3 dots allow you to adjust the sliders yourself. You can adjust them without clicking the 3 dots. It'll automatically assume that once you start tinkering. You can adjust the color, spread, distance, and blur. And let's pop into color here. So you can choose the colors in your site-wide palette or choose a custom color over here with a hex code, RGB, HSL, or just by using the eyedropper tool. And in a moment, I'll tell you how to change your site-wide palette too, but we'll get to that. You might have to do a little clicking in and out of the editor here as you customize your drop shadow settings, because you'll see the section underneath the header is grayed out a bit while you're working in the header. So make sure you click out to see what it'll actually look like. You can even achieve a cool gradient effect on your first section of each page by adjusting the sliders, adjust your color, and you can see what looks good. And if you decide to scrap it, click Remove at the bottom. Okay, onto your border. Same here with the option to adjust your color, the thickness of your line, and whether you want a full border around all 4 sides, just the top and bottom, just the top, or just the bottom. And within the thickness setting, you can also customize beyond small, medium, and large using the 3 dots. And again, click Remove to delete the border altogether. On to Fixed Position. There are actually 3 settings here. Toggled off, your header will be at the top of the page, but as you scroll down your website, the header scrolls out of the frame once you move down the page. If you toggle it on, you've got 2 options. Basic means that it'll stay stuck to the top of your browser's window, even as you scroll down the page. And scroll back means it'll behave like it did in fixed position, moving out of the frame when you scroll down, but it'll pop back into view as you start scrolling up, so you don't have to scroll all the way back up to get back to it. All really great options. And finally, we've got your size options, where you can customize the height and choose whether you'd like a full screen header or you can add a little inset. You can also adjust the height outside of the Edit Design menu by clicking Edit Site Header and adjusting with the height slider over to the right. Okay, we're getting close to the end of our full header tour. Before I take you to the Design tab, let's go back to where I promised I'd show you how to change your site-wide color palette, because this can be helpful before the last step. So we're coming out of the header editor and into your styles editor. And again, this is the global style editor for your whole site's default styles. So we'll go to the paintbrush in the top right. You can see here's where you'll set up your fonts, colors, animations, spacing, button styles, forms, and image blocks. Whew! But right now, we'll click into colors. At the very top, click Edit Palette, and here's where you can choose your main 5 colors. You can add in specific color codes, choose using the slider and eyedropper, choose from a bunch of preset combinations. You can even upload an image to sample colors from, or build a cool palette from a specific color you love. Tons of color options. Once you have your main palette, you can customize your themes. A theme is a color set up for a whole section on your site. Here we have an example of 2 sections, and I've got them set to different themes. This one's lightest one, and this one's light one. We've got 10 whole color combos to customize, so you can spend all day in here, but that's a tutorial for another day. So now that you know where to set your color palette up, let's get to that last step in our header tour. We'll click out of the Site Style Editor, hover over our header area again to get back to the Edit Site Header menu. Click the pencil, and then click back into Edit Design. Now we'll get into the Color tab. You have 3 options. Adaptive is the simplest. It's just going to use whatever styles you have set up for the top section on that page. So if you've got it set to lightest one, the header will use those same styles. If your next page is dark 2 on top, the header will adjust to dark 2 settings. Easy. Gradient is like the adaptive settings, but with a top-down gradient using the color of your choice at the top, fading into the default theme you've chosen on that page. For example, if I just have black at the top, you can see it fades into white here on this page. But if my top section has the bright theme, it'll fade over the pink. And on this page, I have a dark theme, so same gradient color fading over the theme of that page. You can also specify the color of the navigation content, your title, pages, and anything else you toggled on way back in the Add Elements menu over on the left. Then you can adjust the opacity and decide whether you want to blur the background. This could be cool if you've got an image in your first section that extends up into your header like it would in the gradient or adaptive setting. You would add the image outside of the header editor and click into the first section to click Edit Section, Background, and you can add an image here. We'll choose one of the cool free stock images that's built right into Squarespace. Save that, and now you can go back into Edit Site Header, Edit Design, and make sure you're in the Color tab. Then toggle on Blur Background, and you can decide how much you want to blur it using this slider. So snazzy. And finally, we've got Solid. You can choose from one of your preset themes, or you can specify individually your background color, navigation color, the opacity, and you can also blur the background here. It may only be an inch of your website, but you sure can customize the heck out of your header. Let me know if you have any more header questions, any Squarespace questions at all, and as always, have a total blast designing your Squarespace website.